Hi, I'm Dave Barnes.
And I'm John McLaughlin.
And welcome to Dadville.
Dadville is a podcast where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of awesome dadding.
It's funny thoughts and deep talks.
So please, enjoy your time here in Dadville and enjoy this episode with...
Jeff Foxworthy.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite, obey your thirst.
Look at this guy with all the memorabilia behind him.
I was going to say, man, memorabilia.
It's like a little kid's...
That's amazing.
I immediately this is like Home Alone, where he climbs up the thing to get the money.
Yeah, and they all fall.
Remember that?
See, like that side's... I go all over the country looking for arrowheads. So that's
No way.
some of my arrowheads, and then autographed baseballs, which
Look at that. Look at all
are
the
not of
baseballs.
they're not of baseball players. They're like one section is all comedians. Like
No way.
Oh, that's cool.
Like Red Skelton and Milton Berle and
On baseballs.
Skelton?
Richard Pryor, Johnny Carson, all on baseballs. Then another section's like country music people. Like I found one not long ago that the first time I did the Grand Ole Opry, I had people and I'm like, and it's got like Roy Acuff and Loretta and Porter Wagner and all the little Jimmy Dickens, all, and I'm like, I bet this is the only one of those in the world.
Gotta be.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
you have like a baseball with a bunch of podcasters who've sent it yet?
No, but we could start a podcast.
We could start that.
We'll send it to you. You'll be so excited to have that. in
So
your collection.
if the house is on fire, you can only grab one of those things.
Oh.
What are you grabbing? Or do you just stay in that room and go down with the house?
No, I'm not that. There's a picture of the first time I did Johnny Carson, and I'm sitting in the chair making him laugh.
Oh, come on.
And it wasn't until like 25 or 30 years later, I was doing Fallon, and one of the people on the staff said, I went through the archives. She said, do you have any pictures of when you were on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson? I said, no. Unfortunately, they didn't get. She said, I found one, and it was me sitting in the chair talking. And Johnny's got his mouth wide open laughing.
That's
and
amazing.
I like teared up. I said, that's all I ever wanted to do when I started doing this.
That's like the Everest for comedy.
Yeah.
For
it's
him
like,
to
for
call you over
stand-up,
to the couch and then make him laugh.
Yeah, because you didn't know if you were getting called to the couch or not.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the thing?
Well, they would say if he doesn't like you, he'll clap. If he likes you, he'll give you the big okay sign. And if he loves you, he'll call you to the couch. So you get done with your 6 minutes, and it's like Caesar, do I live? Do I die? And you're scared to look.
And it truly could, like, the next day, it's like half of America knows who you are.
There's nothing like it now. It was a career maker.
It really was. You attribute it that much, those moments?
Oh, like the next week, I'm getting asked to headline casinos in Vegas where I was below the prime rib on the sign, the week before. So,
I mean, prime rib, it's better than being below like the side salad.
I was going to say, there are worse things than prime rib.
And that sweet woman on staff there was like, and I will sell this to you for $3.5 million.
she was just being kind.
That's amazing.
That's
and
amazing.
I teared up. I said, because I remember going home that night, laying in bed in the dark and going, I don't have a plan. That's all I wanted to do was, so everything after that has been gravy.
That's amazing. And I imagine too, that's when you everybody is like getting in touch with you to go, oh my gosh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. You did it.
Oh, I've got somewhere in a drawer, I've got a box of like, back then it wasn't text messages, but it was
Carrier pigeon.
no, what were they? The teletype looking little
Faxes?
Not before faxes even.
Oh, wow.
But damn it.
Morse code.
Like a telegram or something.
Like a telegram.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
And handwritten notes of like from other comics going. I sat there and I was watching and I had tears going down my face.
Oh, man.
So happy for you because you killed, and
That's
so
incredible.
the effect that it had on my friends and family,
Yeah.
I mean, it was a big deal.
Do you remember? I mean, we're jumping right into it here, but do you remember during those 6 minutes having a gauge on like, I think this is going well. I think and
I was too scared to look at Johnny, but the set was smaller than you would think. But as I'm doing it, I can hear him laughing
Man.
out loud. And so I'm thinking, okay, that's a good sign. He's I can hear him laughing. So yeah, that was
That's
kind of
amazing.
a barometer.
That's from look. We're already jumping in, Jeff. We start with the brag sheet and we skip the brag sheet because you have stories, you have baseballs.
I don't need
you
a
have
brag sheet.
Well, it is for all the people who want to hear about you, and so you just need to buckle up. Here we go. Today on Dadville.
let's start on a low here, and then we'll build
it just
back
goes up. It goes up from here, Jeff. Just buckle up. But this is your life. Okay, today on Dadville, we're talking with a guy who's not just one of the biggest names in comedy. He's the biggest. Jeff Foxworthy is the largest-selling comedy recording artist in history with 6 major label albums, 2 of which went triple platinum. His breakout record, You Might Be a Redneck If, became a cultural phenomenon, and his humor, rooted in everyday life, family, and human nature, has drawn comparisons to Mark Twain. Small name. Jeff was a cornerstone of the legendary Blue College, well, the early days, I guess it was college, Blue Collar Comedy Tour, alongside Larry the Cable Guy and Bill Engvall, which ran for 3 years, sold millions of tickets, and spawned some of Comedy Central's highest-rated specials. He also starred in Blue Collar TV, The Jeff Foxworthy Show, and even took home a People's Choice Award. Beyond stand-up, Jeff's hosted some of America's favorite game shows, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, The American Bible, Challenge, sorry, and more.
American Bible Challenge, yeah.
Yep, and more. Earning a Daytime Emmy nomination along the way. He's written over 26 books. John, how many more books is that you and I have?
I was actually crunching that. Hang on one second. That's
26.
20. It comes out
Yeah,
to
it's
26 more than us.
So,
yeah.
including multiple New York Times bestsellers, from the Redneck Dictionary series to How to Really Stink at Golf, and even beloved children's books like Dirt on My Shirt. He's a Grammy nominee, a Georgia Music Hall of Fame inductee, a longtime radio host, game creator, and even an outdoorsman with his own company, Foxworthy Outdoors. Jeff Foxworthy, everybody.
Jeff, thank you for sitting through that.
Yeah.
That makes me tired.
That's a fraction. We had to scale that way
you
down.
have no idea how much we had to edit to make that work. So here's the question I want to jump. Well, first of all, is the stash sort of a Samson thing at this point? Like, if you shaved it, do you lose your humor?
I started growing it the summer between 11th grade and 12th grade.
No.
Every 11th grader's dream. I mean, if I could have done that. My
Well, but it wasn't, it was a little bit more of a caterpillar thing in the beginning. And then I've been on the road. I've either been on TV or doing shows for 40 plus years. And so there was never a time that I could shave it. So when COVID hit, I thought, my wife and I have been married 35 years and she's never seen me without a mustache. So one day I'm like, I don't know how long it takes to regrow it, but I don't know if I have a lip. I just want to see. And
what's under there? Lift the hood.
And so I went in the bathroom, I cut it off, then I shaved. I didn't even know how to shave my lip. And I came out. And it took my wife about 10 minutes to notice. We were just standing there in the kitchen talking. And then all of a sudden she stopped and she stared at me and said, wow. She said, grow it back. And so I shaved my lip.
Do it.
I did. I shaved my lip one time
One time.
in my adult life.
That's
That's
amazing. So how long were you without it? Like, how long did it take you to grow back?
It was like in about a month, it was close to what it is now.
Did the kids see it? Did your girls see it?
Oh, yeah, they were all there.
Oh, they were there. What was their response?
Nobody liked it. They said I didn't look like me.
Yeah.
Like,
That's such a huge change.
well, and when I went through a few years where I had a goatee, and Ron White would always say, shave that crap off your chin. You're a mustache guy, and
That's amazing. So let me ask you this: when you hear that, I mean, there's so many things you've achieved in your career, which is just insane, and are still doing. Was that always the plan? Like, were you, at 10, were you like, someday I'm gonna tell Jeff?
Like if 10-year-old Jeff heard that, what would he say?
10-year-old Jeff was fascinated with stand-up to the point, like, I would save my allowance and I would go buy Cosby records and Flip Wilson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I would memorize them, and I'd go to school and do them. So I was always the fun kid at school. But it never, we had a dirt yard. It never occurred to me that you could do something creative that you loved doing and make a living. I thought you had to go get a job that you hate, that made your back hurt.
Right.
And,
which is funny because standing for as long as you do, I'm sure doesn't help you back.
Yeah.
At this point.
And, that's what I did. It never occurred to me I could do something creative for a living. It wasn't a possibility. And, and then some guys I worked with entered me in a comedy contest, not an amateur night, like a working comedian contest. And I'm like, oh, crap. And I went and wrote 5 minutes about my family. And my first time I ever got on stage, I won that contest.
Against working comics.
Against working comics.
Holy cow.
And came off stage, and my wife was an actress at the time, and she'd just done a project with one of the comics in the contest. And she came up, and we started talking.
You met her that night?
I met her right when I came off stage that night.
Oh,
so I met my career and my wife 3 minutes apart the same night.
That is insane.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
That was a good night.
That's
was
like
a
you hear
great
stories
night.
about Dolly apparently wrote Jolene and
I will always love you the same day.
That was your day. That was your version.
That was your day.
Yeah, that was my day.
Here's my question about that, because I was reading that your dad worked at IBM, right? So that's what you're seeing.
My parents were divorced, so he had like the white collar job, but I lived with my mom. My granddad was a fireman. My mom was a key punch operator. I mean, the little town I grew up in, Hateville, you either worked at the Ford plant or you went to work for Delta, because we live right next to the airport. So, that's what most of the people I grew up with ended up doing, something like that.
Very blue collar. But you went to Georgia Tech, right?
Yeah, I would have gone to Georgia, because in my mind, and you guys will understand this, you're not a writer because you want to be a writer. You're a writer because you've got to get this nonsense out of you, right?
Yeah.
And so even in high school, I knew I was a good writer. Like, I didn't have any money, and it was my girlfriend's birthday was coming up, and I saw a thing where the VFW was having a speech contest, and first prize was $50. And so I went and wrote a speech and went down to the VFW, and I won the contest because I needed money to buy my girlfriend a present. And
that's unbelievable.
You do know that most people who enter contests lose. This is news to you.
What?
Well, you just win it. If you need some money, you just win it.
I remember, so like in my first couple of years of comedy, they were having Zanies in Nashville was having. So my first year on the road, after I quit my job, I found the little page-a-day calendar, and I would write every date in it. And I did 406 shows that year, and I made $8,300 for the year. And so Zanies was having a contest, and the first prize was $4,000. Well, that was 6 months' work for me. And so I told my wife, because we had, $8,000 a year. I said, I can't afford to get a hotel room, and I don't know if I can. Because it was 3 trips, you had to win a preliminary week, then they had the semifinals and the finals. Kind of went across the whole summer. And I said, if you're willing to ride with me to Nashville and back 3 times, I'm going to win this contest. And I said, but I don't know if I can stay awake going up there, doing the show and driving back. And she said, okay, I'll go with you. And we went up there 3 times and we won the contest.
This is a joke. That is a joke. I mean, that's so unbelievable to hear.
I want you to just enter, just Google a local contest right now. I just want to see if it just keeps going.
If God has just given you the gift of winning. So here's the question I have for you. You have this job. Obviously, you're funny enough that people are like, Jeff, you got to enter this thing, man. Like, you make us all laugh. Why wouldn't you do it? When is the shift? You win this contest because all you do is win, win, win. And when is the moment that you go, you know what, I'm going to do this?
You know what? My wife, she was a little bohemian there as an actress, but she was the first person in my life that we'd been dating like 3 weeks, and I could take you to where we were sitting, and she said, you have all this creativity inside of you, and if you spend your life in a cubicle, you're going to be miserable.
Wow.
And I'm like, you really think so? You think? And she's like, yeah, you got to get this stuff out of you.
Wow.
And
so do you think, this is an unknowable thing, but do you think that you would have just stayed in the cubicle and just been the funny guy at work?
Yeah, maybe. It was weird, and you guys know because you're writers how just tiny little moments stick in your. And so she said that, and I knew I loved doing it because after I won the contest the first night, then I was going to amateur nights all over because I was still had my regular job. I knew I loved it, and as I was starting to entertain the idea, because it was a good job. It was 1984. I was making $32,000 a year and had full medical, know. And I was sitting in the break room one day. Now I'm in my early 20s, and there's like 3 guys in their 60s sitting over at a table, and I'm kind of eavesdropping on them. And one guy was saying, I always wish I had a hardware store. I think I would have loved owning a hardware store. Wow. And then the other guy was like, I love working on cars. I kind of wish I had done something work. And I thought, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that 60-year-old guy sitting in this break room going, I wish I had tried to be a comedian. So I don't necessarily, I don't know that I had I didn't know enough about it to think that it might work, much less be really successful at it. I just thought, okay, worst case, I come back in a couple of years with my hat in my hand and I say I made a mistake and I get my job back, but I'd have a cool story to tell my grandkids. I was a comic for a couple of years.
Every Christmas, I think about the gifts that really matter. Not the wrapped ones under the tree, but the ones that change someone's life forever. And recently, I heard a story from Mercy Ships that I just can't shake. A mom brought her little boy on board. He'd been living with a condition that could be fixed with a simple surgery, but there was no surgeon anywhere near his village. After his free operation, she said, "You've given my son his future back." Y'all, that is a Christmas gift. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. But Mercy Ships is stepping into that gap in the most beautiful way, bringing free, life-transforming surgeries to people who would otherwise have no access to care. They help the blind see. They straighten twisted limbs. They remove deadly tumors. They treat cleft conditions and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery for children and adults completely free of charge. And it's all powered by an all-volunteer crew of surgeons, nurses, engineers, cooks, people who give their time and talents to make the world better. And here's where we get to help. Your donation provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of hope. This Christmas, you can make your impact felt, and every gift is matched. Please donate today at mercyships.org/podcast. That's mercyships.org/podcast. You know how every year there's that one holiday moment that becomes a family favorite, like showing up to a Christmas dinner and bringing a dish that turns out to be the hit of the night? That's what could happen if you bring Omaha Steaks, you guys, because nothing says I love you and also please invite me back next year like showing up with the world's best steaks. From holiday hosting to those unforgettable gifts, Omaha Steaks delivers the world's best steak experience. You can gift family and friends USDA certified tender steaks, juicy burgers, cozy comfort meals, and so much more. And right now, during their Sizzle All the Way sale, you can get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our friends get an extra $35 off with the promo code FUN at checkout. There's nothing like receiving a gift of Omaha Steaks. Everything shows up perfectly packed, super convenient, and the flavor, exceptional. Their filet mignons are unreal, USDA certified, very tender, and every order is backed by their 100% guarantee. They've been America's original butcher since 1917, a family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise, and you taste that care in every bite. It's not just steaks, burgers, chicken, pork, seafood, dessert, they've got everything. So save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Sizzle All the Way sale. And for an extra $35 off, just use the promo code FUN at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, and the code is FUN.
You know what I think is so powerful about the story about your wife, and I think this is such a cool divine thing, is that because I think it sort of takes creative people to say something like she said that to you, because I think some people could know you, and a lot of people did, that would have said, man, Jeff's just so funny. But to have someone that is an artist like she is, to go, no, I know what that is in you because I've got it, and I'm doing it professionally, and you got to get this out. That's such a cool thing. You know what I mean? That not just that she was someone that had affection for you going, hey, chase your dream, but she's going, no, it's more than that. Like, I see that thing in you that I have, and you need to honor that thing.
You know, Dave, it's like I will, because you always hear people say chase your dreams and or follow your passions. Well, sometimes we have passions or dreams that we're not good at. Like, I love music. I can't play an instrument. I can't sing, but I love it. So if I had spent my energy following that passion, it never would have worked out well. So now, instead of asking people, what's your passion? I say, what are you good at?
Wow.
What are you good at? Because if you're good at it, then you're probably going to be successful at it.
Wow.
Which then opens the door for you to try other things.
Yeah.
But I think we're all gifted. I mean, like, don't you agree with me about writing? You don't. Writing's not fun.
No.
1,000%. Now, I will say, though, Dave Barnes, is one of the people who genuinely just loves songwriting. I love songwriting once I have gone through the excruciating pain, which I realize that's hyperbolic. I'm not like in a coal mine, but I'm like, the pain of coming up with the idea, I hate it. Once I got the idea, then it's like, oh, I love this. But the rest of the time, I hate it.
Yeah. I love the finished product. I hate the blank page, and I hate
the blank page.
The process. And with comedy, it's getting it down to the bare minimum of words. And it may be like that in songwriting. And like I was talking to Nate Bargatze a month ago, and I said, because now Nate's Mr. Everything in comedy, and I said, Nate, all I can tell you is 25 years ago, I was you, where everybody's having you host their shows, you can't crank out specials fast enough. And I said, and while I was on that hilltop, I didn't really get to enjoy it because it was happening. You were grinding so hard, and you couldn't even enjoy doing a special because you'd walk off stage and went, man, that went great. Oh, crap. Now I've got an empty
page is
gun.
blank again.
I got to load the gun again. And and here's the difference in songwriting is I tell my musician friends, I said, you write 4 hits, you play to your
I know.
9.
Yeah.
Whereas with comedy, if you did a CD or you did a special, people go, that was funny. What do you got that's new?
Yeah. Well,
So
we had Nate on, and we were talking about this exact same thing, and it's one of the biggest things I remember from that pod with him is he was like, how did he say it, John? Like the very thing they're yelling is he had some great line about like when they yell the joke they want you to tell. He's like, what people don't realize is you're yelling the punchline. Yeah. So literally, you're nuking the whole experience by literally going, hey, do whatever. And he's like, well, no, now I got to just get to what you just yelled because that's the whole ending of the whole thing.
Well, and I do think and I was saying this tonight, I said kind of the fun thing for me now is I've got 4 decades worth of that stuff. I said, so I can go back and pull something from 20 years ago, which the audience doesn't remember or half of them have never heard. Yeah. And it's a good song, right? Yes. I mean, and so.
Well, and truthfully, my wife and I saw Seinfeld a few years ago, and I knew some of his stand-up. I knew maybe like a third of what he did, and I didn't care. I wanted to hear him do the thing. He starts the story, and you're like, oh, I know this one. And I know that you can't do that ad nauseum, but there is definitely when you get to the place of success and notoriety that you have achieved, I think you buy yourself some of that.
You do. Like Seinfeld's never done a special. So because he wants that when you go to see him live.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have to crank it out at that same level, But Leno's never done a special. Jay's always saying, God, why do you do that? Then they come to see you and they've already heard it. Well, but I was so lucky to have stumbled across the "you might be a redneck" thing, which was just a response to what they were calling me in New York and L.A. I didn't think about it being a hook or a book, but I did the first Page a Day calendar of those in 1990. Well, I just finished the 2027 one, so that's 37 years in a row that this thing comes out, and it's always on the top seller list. But and it's one-liners, and I don't do one-liners.
Yeah, right.
But what it did for me as a writer was you had to tell an entire joke in one sentence. Mm-hmm. And so it taught me that cram it down as tight as you can get it. Yeah. And children's books were kind of that way because you have a limited vocabulary. I knew I wanted it to rhyme. And after, I always thought, hell, a children's book would be simple. And then after a couple of weeks, I'm like, Dr. Seuss was a freaking genius. Because it was hard. Because I would go, that's the thought I want to say. But the second line is one syllable too long if I'm going to make this. Mm-hmm. And so how do I do that? I got to eliminate a syllable, but keep that same intent in there. And
it starts like a mask.
Like you're talking about, John, it's just painful. You're just wrestling with it, and but then when you get it, you're like,
nothing better.
Nothing better.
The thing that I think is so remarkable about your comedy, though, Jeff, and this is the thing. Like I was watching some bits, getting ready for this, and. I mean, this is as high a praise as I can give. I can't think of many comics that are more natural than you are. Like when I watch your sets, you just look so unbelievable. And I mean, this is back to early days. So you could say, well, I've done it for a long time, but I mean this, like, you look so unbelievably comfortable. Like, you look like this is just what I do. I'm talking. It happens to be really funny. Now, that's what, the greats can do, is make really hard things look simple. I mean, I think that's kind of the definition of genius. But at the same time, like, watching you, I just couldn't. That was the thing. That was probably the thought I had the most, was like, and I mean, these newer bits, I love that you're putting them up at these private shows, where you can kind of see. But you just look. I mean, Bargatze said this, and I've actually done some stand up on the side, and I did a private show, and it was unbelievably hard and awkward. And Nate said that when we had him on. He was like, dude, those are the crucible. Like, when you get hired to do those, it is just so hard.
They didn't pay to see you. Half of them don't even know you're going to be there. Maybe they're not comedy fans. Maybe they've never heard of you.
Yeah.
But what it taught me was, even if it starts slow and they're disinterested, I'm going to look them right in the face, and I'm not going to bat an eye. And by the time I say thank you, good night, they're going to stand up.
It's watching those clips. It's unbelievable how good you are at it.
No,
I mean that. Like, I was like, look, I can't think of many comics that would own the stage, and I feel like you've always done that. And so it's so interesting that you would come up, get this other job, and then start doing that, when it seems like you were just gifted to do that. It just seems like you have such a natural, I think, one, just in your posture, like literally just how you look. And you're right. I mean, that's something that John and I know from music, is you really have to own the stage or everybody else is uncomfortable. I mean, that's kind of rule one of performing, is like, if you aren't comfortable, no one is. And if you aren't, but if you are,
especially in stand-up
if you're nervous, then they're nervous.
That's exactly
they
right.
don't relax and go along for the ride.
Which you're so good at. But I think it's not just that. I think if you look at the arc of your career, to your point about the redneck jokes, it was like you clocked really early, like, hooks. I got to have, and even now when I watch your stand-up, I'm like, you can see that you've figured out, like, this is how I get digestible things to an audience so they can take it on. And all the time you're just so comfortable. And so it's so funny, because I would have thought you were, which makes sense. And I wonder, actually, when you learn those early bits, that had to have sort of even osmotically informed when you later put your bits together, because you heard pacing, from Cosby, you were like, oh, this is how you talk with comedy. And so I would imagine it had to have informed some of your confidence and how you approach it so early on, right? Just learning that stuff.
Yeah, because I used to say, if you want to be an actor, you go to acting school. If you want to be a musician, you go to music school. Yeah. There's no stand-up comedy school. Yeah. The way you learn to be a stand-up,
you want to be a comic, you go to Georgia Tech.
You go, yeah. John, you're ruining the whole thing. You hang out with comics.
Yeah.
That's how you learn to do it. But there is a rhythm, and you have to find, and I tell young, because it's like I'm the old guy now, and so young comics are always trying to pick your brain. I said, the closer you can get to being you, because nobody else thinks
so good
and has the same experiences that you've had. And I was very lucky early on, Dave, in that. Because it's probably like a songwriter, but in my early days, I'd be looking at billboards going, what can I talk about? I'd watch commercials. What can I talk about? And I settled in a place that I said, you know what I'm going to do? If I think something, or my wife says something, or my family does something, I am going to trust other people are thinking and saying and doing the same thing. And so when you do that, and then people come backstage and they go, oh my God, you've been in our house.
Yeah.
You realize you do think and say and do the same things, and that's probably the key to mine. Tim Wilson said to me one time, everybody thinks it's the redneck jokes. He said, your best material is your relationship material. And I'm like, well, that's cool of you to say that, because I think to most people it's just, oh, he's the redneck guy.
Right.
And I think of myself kind of more of as a storyteller than a one-liner guy.
Well, I think that's why you're so diverse. I mean, again, seeing these videos, I was like, you You've gotten the one-liners down with the redneck stuff, but gosh, you're such a good storyteller too. And I wanted to ask this. I have this theory in every comic we have on, and John's so tired of this question, but I get to ask because we're recording and he can't make it awkward. I have this theory about comedy, and I wonder if this resonates at all with you, but it seems to me that people tend to, I mean, they fall into 100 camps, but I would argue maybe 2 of the predominant camps are people, which I assume you would be like this. If you put you in a room with anybody, you're just going to be funny. You know, like if you're kind of talking, it's probably funny. It's even if that's just off the dome or you see, you know, it's just like you were kind of made. I think Cosby's like that. I think there's a bunch of comics. I mean, Jonathan Winters, who's my idol, I think was like that, but like just kind of funny. It's like if you got, you know, if I was like, hey, tell me something funny that happened to you the last hour, you'd be like, I can get you there. Hold on, let me think about this. Where I think then there's other comics that craft, you know, they take it, they sit, they whittle, they kind of, and I think so to me it's kind of like storytellers and then sort of like, you know, punchline people that are like, I'm gonna get this thing but those guys or girls, you may meet them at a party and they're just kind of nice people, but man, you give them like a day or 2 to work on something and they're gonna kill. Do you know what I mean? And when I watch you, I tend to think you're the first. It feels like you're just funny, you know?
Because like I do a podcast on Sirius called A Comic Mind, where I just interview comedians. And my first question to everybody is, are you born funny or is it a skill set you can learn? Mm-hmm. And 99% of them say you're born funny. So it's a gift. Yeah. Like some people have a gift of taking care of old people. Some people have a gift for nursing. Some people have a gift for bricklaying. I don't know why I can do it. So it's kind of hard for me to have an ego about it. So I don't think you can ever be really good at it without having the gift. I don't think you could be a not funny person and just study the craft. Right. But the really good ones do both. So like John's talking about the idea being born. So like if I'm sitting around with you and we're talking about something and I say something and you just start laughing, then my brain goes, oh, that's funny. Hold that. Bob Newhart said to me one time, he said, comedians are like, he said, we're like magpies that sit up on the gutter of the house and we just study everything. And when we see something shiny that we like, we fly down, we pick it up, and we come back and put it in our pile. I think songwriters are the same way.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So, like, because people will say to me, oh, man, I'd love to go to a party with you. And I always say you'd be disappointed because I'm not going to be the guy in the middle of the room with a lampshade on his head. I'm going to be
You're doing research.
standing in the corner going, I can do a bit about the guy with a lampshade on his head.
Right.
I got
That's good.
So I've been working on this bit. I got bitten by a copperhead and had to go to spend a day in the hospital.
What?
Between me figuring out how to get away from the snake that was on the stairs above me, and he had already bitten me, and my foot's like turning blue and puffing up.
Oh my God.
I have the thought, I'm going to get a great bit out of this. I'm going, and I mean, what kind of sickness is that? Like, I haven't even been to the hospital. I haven't killed the snake yet, and I'm thinking I'm going to get a great bit out of this.
It's like an endless silver lining through like
that's
a
great
worst
way to put
day.
it, John.
Your
That's a
worst
great way to
day.
put it.
It's like, well, this is material. I hope the ambulance
and I
is
look
late.
at some of my favorite material, and it's from things like having a kidney stone, or having a colonoscopy or something. It's like I try to go, all right, this sucks so much. This is going to be easy to get laughs out of.
But so, hold on, you have to pause with a snake bite. I can't think of anything that I dread more in the world, maybe than getting bit by a snake. Did it hurt like fire, or what happened? How did that work? Because I don't know people that have ever gotten bit by a copperhead.
Where we live, the power goes out a lot. The power lines are still above ground. A lot of old trees. Every time you'd have a storm, power would go out. And after we threw everything in the refrigerator away for about the third time, my wife and I decided we got to get a generator. And so 3:30 in the morning, not long after we get the generator, I hear the generator kick on in the middle of the night. And I'm like, well, that's weird. It's not storming or anything. Well, then the generator shut off. And I thought, maybe it's a self-test or something. I don't know. And about 5 minutes later, it kicked back on. And I'm like, something's jacked up with the generator. So I very quietly slip out of bed, got on shorts, and it's August, shorts and a T-shirt, grab a flashlight and my phone in case I've got to watch a YouTube video about how do you fix a jacked up generator, So and I go out in the backyard, and the generator's like on the basement level down a flight of stairs. And when I go down to the stairs, I stepped right on top of the snake, and he bit me on the foot. And
this is Dave's nightmare right now.
I hate snakes. I've always hated snakes. But to your point, it felt like an electric shock. It wasn't like you're like, oh, this is like getting shot. It like I hopped down a couple of stairs. I'm like, dadgum, what?
Over it.
I thought the generator was maybe shorting out, and maybe I got zapped by electricity.
But it's squishy though, right?
I don't even remember the thing. I just remember it
like a pop.
Sticking your finger in a light socket. And I turn around, and shine the flashlight up there, and he's laying there, like.
And so you went to the ER like 4:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh!
I have no idea. Like, what's the clock on something like that? You get bit. How much time do you have?
Well, the quicker you can get the anti-venom in, they say if you can get it in like an hour, then you probably won't have very long-lasting things. And it took me about an hour. They sent an ambulance, but but now it's a 20-minute bit on stage about getting bit.
Yeah, it is. That John said it so well. It really is for a comic. Like everything is sort of a write-off. Like everything in your life is just a write-off.
Yeah,
it's a write-off.
Yeah. Childbirth, anything you can think of that's
unbelievable.
Right?
That is so funny.
So do you guys feel like, do you feel like what you do is a gift?
No, 1,000%.
Because you're doing the same thing. And if you think about this, country music is the only form of music that has comedy associated with it.
Yeah.
In that you don't have jazz comedians, you don't have rock and roll comedians, but there are many pearls in the Comedy Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah,
Roger Miller, but here's why: is I think like with rock and roll, I love the song Layla. I have no idea what it's about.
Yeah,
country music song is always a story, and so I think that's why. It's because comedy's always we're both storytellers. You're
that's
just putting it to music, and
yeah.
Wake up.
Okay. Oh,
are you there?
Yeah. Well, I heard you come in the front door because the little alarm went off.
I know. I don't know the code.
Oh.
I thought we'd be close enough for me to know it by now. But hey, what are you doing anyway?
I was reading my NIV. I wasn't. I was thinking about reading it, for being honest.
Okay. Well, listen, because I was going to say this is why I came over.
Yeah.
Featuring. Listen to my pitch. It's going to start a little clunky, but featuring thousands of study notes drawn from the best-selling NIV application commentary series. The NIV Application Bible helps you understand Scripture and apply it to your modern life.
No, you landed it, John. John, I love the way the NIV Application Bible pairs a deeper understanding of the ancient biblical text with contemporary applications of the lessons found within it.
Well, listen, Dave, I think so too.
Aww.
It gives a new way to understand the Bible and what it means for your life today.
Yeah, here's what you find inside.
Tell me.
Original meaning notes
that
help you understand each page in its context.
That's right. Okay, how about application notes, right? That help you integrate the teachings of the Bible into your daily life. Or questions for growth, right? In each chapter of the Bible, They encourage reflection and how to apply Scripture to life.
And don't forget People to Know to explore the lives of Bible characters.
Yeah, and you can save an additional 10% on any NIV application Bible and NIV application commentary resource by visiting faithgateway.com/NIVAB and using the promo code Dadville.
That's faithgateway.com/NIVAB and promo code Dadville for an extra 10% off. Also, how did Andy not wake up this whole time? We've been pretty loud.
Oh, she left hours ago with her Bible.
Oh. Yeah.
Don't know why we're laughing.
I don't either.
Okay. All right. Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
You know, when it's cold mornings and holiday plans,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I just want my wardrobe to be simple.
Yes.
You know, stuff that looks sharp and feels good,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
But things that I'll actually wear. And
What
for
is that
me,
for you, John?
Let me tell you.
Okay.
That's Quince.
Ah.
Okay. I'll say it again.
Okay.
Quince.
Yes.
And the holiday bonus, Quince pieces make great gifts too.
You are right about Quince being great for gifts, not just clothes. Quince
right.
also has anything for home, bath, kitchen, or travel.
That's right. This holiday season's lineup is simple but smart and easy with Quince, like $50 cashmere sweaters. You heard me right,
What?
people. $50
What?
cashmere sweaters that feel like an everyday luxury.
Every
day. And wool coats that are equal parts stylish and durable.
And John,
Yep.
don't get me started on their denim.
I knew you were going to go denim.
Don't do it. I'll do it. I said I would, but now here I am. Their denim nails the fit and everyday comfort, all at a fraction of what you'd expect to pay.
Okay, Dave. My only question is, what makes Quince different? Tell me.
Can you hum in the background a little bit so it sounds sort of triumphant? John, Quince partners directly with ethical factories and skips the middlemen so you get top-tier fabrics and craftsmanship at half the price of similar brands. That's beautiful, by the way.
Give and get timeless holiday staples that last this season with Quince.
Yeah.
So go to quince.com/Dadville for free shipping.
No.
That's right. On your order. And
Quince is available in Canada now.
365-day returns.
That's almost a full year, John.
Exactly.
That's QUINCE.com/Dadville to get free shipping and 365-day returns.
Dadville.
Well, the thing that's true about both John and I, if you ever see our shows, like we both do a lot of banter. Like I would say a small piece of why people come to our shows because they know it's going to be funny. And so I think one way that John and I are similar, and John would say this, and I agree with him, like if I can land jokes, I'm comfortable before I land songs. Like songs are fine. I'm always like, can I get people kind of warmed up and having fun?
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
once
I don't feel totally relaxed and in the room until everybody laughs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so for us, I think it's you're collecting songs, but I mean, I have a notes app that I'm just constantly like, oh, that'd be a great bit. That'll get me between some songs. Or like when God just shines his light and something happens right before a show or on stage or in the crowd, it is like I have been gifted something. And so it's funny because as much as I think John and I are both collecting songs, I always kind of have that'd be a good. And then you're trying to figure out how can I make that relate to this song when it has nothing. Like how can be getting Copperhead got bit by Copperhead. Okay, how would that get me into that love song? Copperhead's love song. You know, that's the weird, you know. But it is. I mean, it's true. You're as a creative, I think whatever you do, you are kind of walking through life picking up these shiny things, kind of going, how can I make them relate, or how, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think, and there's probably. We're probably never 100% fully engaged in the moment because there is that little part of us that's searching and analyzing. And I think everybody has the thoughts that a comedian has, but they don't grab them. They have that thought and it goes in, but because like when I do something on stage and then people go, oh my God, I've done that, or oh my God, I've thought that, or oh my God, I've said that,
Well, you said it so well to make it. It's just like great songwriting. So much of great songwriting, great jokes are the simplest version of the true thing.
Almost always. Almost always. It's if it's not working, you're making it too complicated.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That was the thing on one of the. I did a bunch of stand-up shows years ago, and my manager, I'll never forget. We got done with. We had done 3 or 4 shows in a row, and he was like, "Look, all right, a couple of thoughts for you." He's like, "You don't have to keep adding to the jokes every night." Because I was kind of getting bored, and like you just said, Jeff, I wasn't just being present. So I was like, okay, how can I beef this one up? Or, my ad. And he was like, dude, just trust the jokes, tell the stories, let them be done. But because I wasn't being in the moment, I was like, okay, that didn't get as much of a laugh. I need to double up on this next one. How can I make the impression a little more intense? Or, and I was like, oh yeah, half of this is just being present, doing the job you came to do, and trusting that they work. Because I think that sort of, to your point, I think, John, all of us, you have this creative thing where it's like, it's just always going, and to not just keep slapping stuff on, and you're like, just let it go.
Yeah. And for me, all right, you want to know like one of my wish bucket list things?
Oh, man.
So I've written jokes for 40 years. I've written a bunch of books. I've written a bunch of TV shows, written a movie. I've always wanted to write a song, and I don't know how to write a song.
I bet you do, and you don't know that you do.
That's my theory with everyone. I think everybody can do it.
Yeah.
Jeff, I tell you what, though. We're just a couple hours away.
Yeah, you just get on up here.
Your wife knows the route. She can drive you.
Dude, I've got like, she does know the route.
We live right by Zany's, actually.
Yeah,
she knows exactly where our neighborhood
like
is.
$1,200 a trip, right? So no, I don't think so. I see the similarities in it, the condensed form and all. And Clint Black, one time we were hosting maybe the ACMs or something. He goes, "It's like a joke, but you're doing the same setup with 3 different punchlines."
That's so well said.
Yeah,
that's so well said. You would get you would figure it out so quickly.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you would be amazed because it's so much.
Okay, well, in my notes, I have all these ideas for songs that are just sitting there. So
bring them on.
Let's do it.
I mean, we will take.
We
you
can
to the promised
check off
land,
a
Jeff.
bucket list here. Come on.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you? Speaking of your wife, you mentioned a while back that year that you did 400 some.
Oh my gosh.
Shows, which is unbelievable. I mean, I know that comics there are a lot of multi-show nights, but still, that is a crazy amount of shows.
Okay, that was year 1, John.
That was year 1.
After that, I had 8 years in a row. I did at least 500 shows.
That is unbelievable.
But I was kind of doing I didn't have kids yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was doing the Malcolm Gladwell thing.
Oh, I was going to say, I bet Malcolm got the idea for his book from you.
I was racing against time to be on Carson before Carson retired.
Wow.
And everybody told me when I started, it'll take you 10 years to be good enough to do Johnny. And I'm like, Johnny ain't staying 10 more years.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll do it in half of that. So it was like the Malcolm Gladwell thing. If you do something for 10,000 hours, you become an expert at it. And I'm like, okay, I'm grinding my 10,000 hours out as hard as I can.
That's incredible.
And I told myself 5 years. It took five years and 2 months. But
What to go on?
Yeah.
Gosh,
Man.
that's amazing.
But was your wife with you for a lot of that? Would she go on the road with you a lot?
She'd cherry pick, she'd look and she'd go, you go to Toledo by yourself. I'll go with you to San Francisco and Honolulu. And, I'm like, I need you in Toledo.
That's where I need you.
Toledo.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So here's a question I have for you. This is something I've always loved about you with your faith and your comedy is that you've always occupied. I was just watching that bit. I'm going to start laughing. where you talk about the magnifying mirror. You talk about Oh, the way you end the joke, you're talking about your wife and how nothing needs to be that magnified.
Yeah.
But then you're like, well, I've only looked in it one time. I mean, and then, you do the posturing with your junk and you're kind of looking. I mean, and the thing I've loved about you, and I really mean this, is that you've done such a good job of occupying a really interesting space, because I think there's really clean comedy. And gosh, for when I was growing up, there was like a weird little moment where there was like Christian comedians who were really funny. It was really interesting. It was like, oh wow, we actually have but generally people are either like clean comics or kind of not. And you are obviously a clean comic, but I like that you sort of just get your toe over things.
Oh, I get right up. My mother used to say that when I was a kid. If she said, "Don't cross that line," she said you would go lean over the. You know what Ron White said to me one time, and I thought about it, and it's right. He goes, everybody thinks you're so clean. He goes, your greatest gift is you can camouflage a joke better than anybody. And it's like, okay, don't say it. How can I?
It's so true.
Yeah.
How can I?
It's so true.
I remember, right before our first child was born, that was kind of the big thing at that time was everybody was filming the delivery of their kid. And so by that time, Carson had left. Leno was doing the Tonight Show. And I said, Jay, because I always talked about my life. I said, can I talk about video and the birth? And Jay's like, I don't know, That's... So then the challenge became, okay, can I write a clean joke? And so here was the joke I ended up doing. I said, everybody goes, oh, you should have filmed the birth. It's such a beautiful moment. And I said, I've seen those tapes, and to me, it just looks like a wet St. Bernard trying to come in through the cat door. And, oh my God. And Leno started laughing. He goes, yeah, you can do that. That's because there's nothing dirty there, but I just see that St. Bernard trying to get in through the cat door.
Right. The audience does the work for you.
They do the work for you. And I've always said it. If you give them credit for being intelligent, all you got to do is, throw it out there.
Tee it up.
My gosh, that makes me laugh.
So how far into your career did you guys have your daughters?
About 8 years in.
8 years in?
Yeah.
Was it like, when I started out, my wife, we got married right at the beginning of my career. In the first, 7 years I was on the road. We were on the road nonstop. And she came out with us the whole time. She loves being out on the road. And when we started having kids, it was a huge shift. I mean, I was kind of scared. I definitely wanted to have kids, but I was like, I don't know what this looks like.
Yeah,
because I don't.
And you have no idea till you do.
You have no idea. I mean, that I knew that I couldn't tour the way I was touring because we knew we weren't going to bring our newborn baby girl out on the road. But so, what was that like for you? Were you scared of what the career was going to look like afterward, or did you feel like you got to a point where you could kind of buy yourself some flexibility?
I was so blessed because right at the point that we had kids, I went from clubs to doing theater. So I went from being on the road every day, or most clubs were like Tuesday through Saturday or Sunday. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm in theaters where it's just one show in this town, one show in this town. And so, and my dad had left real early in life. So growing up without a dad, I knew I didn't want to do that to my kids. And now I've got this bizarre job. So when my kids were growing up, I would lease a plane and I would fly home every night.
Wow.
So if I had a show in St. Louis, I would fly out in the afternoon, do the show, walk off stage, get back on the plane, fly back to Atlanta, get back at 1 or 2 in the morning, get up at 6, take them to school.
Jeez,
I'd go pick them up from school, take them home, and then I'd go get back on the plane and fly to Grand Rapids.
Good night.
And looking back, and it's like for the guys that were going with me, whether it was the Rons or the Larry the Cable guys, that just became, because I'm like, hey, you can come to Atlanta and base there and fly with me, but I'm going home every night. And and I look back and I'm thinking, when did I sleep?
That's my first question.
I slept on the plane a lot,
Yeah.
but it gave me 100 more days a year with my kids.
Wow.
And
Yeah, priceless.
and as soon as they went to college, I started flying Delta again. You know, I'm like, I can't. Hey, the price had gotten so crazy, and I don't even want to know what I spent doing that. But they were more important than whatever I spent. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yeah.
And they don't even kind of remember now. They were like, we're kind of always. You weren't there for some bedtimes, but you know, you were. So I was lucky. It became more weekends, and as it rose up, it was after they were born. But they were, you know, and here's the deal. When your dad leaves you, and like my dad's case, he had an affair with his secretary and ran off and lived with her. That's how it started. He ended up being married 6 times and had 1,000 affairs in between.
Oh man.
But when that happens to you, no matter what the grown-ups say, as a kid, you feel like I wasn't worth sticking around for.
Right.
Jeez.
And so I just remember early in life thinking, my kids are never going to feel that way.
Yeah.
Whatever I have to do, if I have to go without sleep, my kids are not going to feel like they're
Wow.
not worth everything to me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's always a struggle. We've talked about this before with a few different people, but I think it's always a struggle with a job where it is kind of a dream or it's something that you've always wanted to do. Is I've felt this with mine a lot. It's like I never want my dream to crush my kids. That just doesn't feel fair, you know. And so I think navigating how I have thought about my time and shows or whatever takes me away, just trying to make sure that it's not that selfish angle of that where it's like, hey, this is what I do. And it's like, well, it is what you do, but it's also, you chose to also have those kids. You know what I mean? So at some point you're kind of responsible for both of them.
Well,
you know.
you are. And, you know, the thing that never gets talked about is you have to have, like my wife is so capable. Like, you know, I could be on the road and call home and she'd go, the hot water heater blew up this morning. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll be back in 2 days. She goes, oh, no, I already got another one. They came put it in. But when the kids become part of it is like, I quit playing golf because I'm like, God, it takes all day. And it makes me mad anyway, but I'm like, I'm not going to do that to her. I'm not going to be gone all weekend.
Yeah.
And then here's a day that I could be with my kids and I'm out doing something that, and you have to be available to be back in the game, you know, which was kind of funny because you'd go play an arena where your name's on the side. And as soon as you come in the house, you're like, she's got a snotty nose, he's got a dirty diaper, and you're all of a sudden you're not on the billboard anymore, you know.
Yeah.
But you have to come in and drop your bags and go, I'm back in the game.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right.
What do you need?
Which is such a, man, talk about a shift. I mean, just especially in that season where you're flying that much, where it's like you are every day you're doing this extremes, like the coolest guy in the room everybody wants to see, to, you know, dirty diapers, to snotty nose, or cleaning up throw up every day. That's such a crazy shift.
Yeah,
you know,
and without a lot of transition time, you know,
you're just right back in it.
But what's the most important, you know, and I do think in our society today, probably, and maybe always, but a lot of us kind of identify by what we do. I did an interview a while back, and the lady said, okay, you do stand-up, you write books, you host game shows, you paint. she said, which one are you? I thought, well, that's a weird question. And I said, okay, the things you listed, I said, those are all things I do. And I love what I do. I'm very blessed to be able to do what I do and that it works well enough we can make a living doing that. I said, but who I am is I'm a child of God, and I'm a husband, and I'm a father, and I'm a brother, and I'm a friend, and I'm a person of this community. I said, so what I do may change a lot of times over the course of my life, but hopefully that who I am stays consistent, you know.
So good. Man, that's good. John and I were talking about that earlier today.
I think one of the harder, like you were saying, Jeff, in our culture, for sure, what you do is probably the number one, sort of like identity trap, where we're just like magnets to it. We tend to think that that's our identity and put all our worth in it.
100%, yeah.
But as parents, it also is kind of a trap of like, while you're raising these kids, it's, I'm always going to be Luca and Livy's dad, and it's the greatest thing in the world. But when that day comes, when they leave and they go off to Harvard, if all things go to plan, and I turn and I look at Amy, like one of my fears is that we're going to look at each other and she's going to be like, oh, you're still here. It is we're still like 7 years away from this day, but I think about it every single day. And I always want to talk to people that we have on who have gone through that, because I want all the advice I can get. Like, what was that day like? What was that transition like, becoming an empty nester?
Yeah, John, I view life as seasons. Teenager, dating, newlywed, kids, teenager. You have teenagers, and now empty nesters, and now grandparents. It's all seasons.
Yeah,
every one of them's great. Not that it doesn't mean a lot of them aren't hard, but they're all great. So what you'll experience is when that first one goes away, and now you just have one. You're going to get some rich time with that one that wasn't available before. And then when that one goes away, my wife and I looked at each other and go, hey, we can go eat a meal that doesn't have French fries. Hey, we can,
Yeah.
We've always said we wanted to go to Italy. Let's go to Italy.
Yeah.
And so kind of for us, we became boyfriend and girlfriend. Like,
oh, that's great.
I love that.
Hey, girlfriend, what do you want to go do?
Yeah.
And you don't understand. So tell me if there's anything in this analogy. I wrote this 2 days ago, but I haven't tried it on anybody. But the point, I guess, is that it's going to be good. It's a good season. And then when your kids go away, the kids that leave your house are not the kids that come back.
Oh, wow.
And you go, like my youngest daughter was the messiest kid. Like her room always looked like a bomb had gone up in it. Now you go to her house, it's immaculate. And you're like, crap, it worked. She grew up. And so you're always a parent, but you become much more of just a friend. You find yourself, so here was the thing, and talking about the season. See, I've got a writer's brain. I just bounce all over the place. And I can't find it. But anyway, I was thinking that because I'm 67, and the biggest surprise in life is how fast life goes by. Yeah. Because I was your guys' age a year ago.
Yeah.
I was the new kid in comedy a few years ago. And so I was trying to think how you would describe aging to somebody younger. I'm like, okay, so like when you're going to the big party and you get all dressed up, you're all jazzed up, and you get there and you're full of enthusiasm and energy, and then as the night goes on, you realize, God, half these people are morons and I don't want anything to do with them. And as the night wears on, even the people you don't think are morons, it's so loud you can't have an interesting conversation with them. And so you give up on that. And you finally get to that point where you're like, you know what, I'm just tired and I want to go home and put my comfy clothes on. That's the condensed version of life. It's all like within.
It's so true. That's so true.
I like that.
I just want to go home.
That's
I just want sweatpants.
I'm so curious, and one last question about this. What does work look like as an empty nester?
That's an interesting question. Nobody's asked that. And I struggle with it. Like I never wanted to, and if I refer to it, my wife has a weird name. Her name is Greg, Gregg.
Wow.
So I always would tell Greg in the early days, I said, don't let me stay at the dance too long. My biggest fear is being the old comic that's not funny anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I keep, and I'm having thoughts of like, and she was smart. She goes, well, if you'll just listen carefully, they'll tell you.
Wow. Geez, what a thought.
But I still enjoy it. I hate the airport. I hate the hotel room. But man, when the lights go down and people start clapping, you know the feeling,
Yeah.
But I had just read a book called Strength of Strength, and they were finding that.
Oh, I love that
Isn't
book.
that book fabulous?
Oh, my gracious.
The most creative years of your life are like between 20 and 35. And so I do have the thought, well, maybe I should just walk away. Maybe it's time. People are, when I came up, Alan Jackson was coming up and, Alan's walking away. Maybe it's time for Jeff to walk away. All of a sudden, like I've hit a burst of I'm writing some stuff now that's as good as anything I've ever done.
Wow.
And I've had like for the last 2 months, just a burst. And it's so fun because I'm like, oh, that's the way it used to just vomit out of me. And you're like checking it against people and going, this is good, isn't it? And they're like, yeah, that's really good.
Oh, that's amazing.
So maybe it's like that old person that rallies right before they die or something. But I'm like, Grandpa sat up and told us how he loved us and then boom, fell over dead. So,
Oh, I love that. That's so inspiring to hear.
Yeah,
I think that's
great.
one thing that's really interesting about comedy, though. As much as, to your point, like we get to cheat because basically if you can put together 10 to 15 really great songs over 20 or 30 years, that's all we need, where you guys are having to reinvent. I think the cheat code you guys have, to your point, as you get older, is that also benefits you. Because the thing is, if you're funny, nobody cares how old you are. Nobody cares how long you've done it. You're just
as long as you're funny.
As long as you're funny.
As long as you're funny.
Where
Yeah,
I think
and
with
I
singers,
think,
you can go hear a singer. I mean, God bless everybody that gets in their 60s, 70s, but your voice changes as a singer. And so
Absolutely,
you can go see some of your favorite artists and realize, like, man, this is like tougher than it used to be, where like you don't have to worry about that. You can talk and be, as long as the stuff's funny, people will go see you be funny. You know what I mean?
That's why it's magic, because it's totally objective. I mean, I could write what maybe a lot of my fans are like, that's your best song. We love that song. But there are going to be tons of people who are like, I just don't like it. It's a subjective thing. If people are laughing, that you could force them to laugh. They could be there begrudgingly. They'd be like, I don't want to come to this Jeff Foxworthy show, but their wife drug them or whatever, and then you get up there, you can make them involuntarily laugh. That's just magic.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I guess so. But
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question about songwriting, but again, that slipped my mind. See, maybe this is the last.
This is it.
Okay, we have a speed round that we're going to get to, but you're going to laugh at me. I have to know this because my brain is caught on a circle that can't get out of. You step over the snake, it bites you. You still have a dilemma.
Oh, I have more than one dilemma because now I've still got a jacked up generator.
Yeah.
I've got a snake bite on my foot, and I've got a venomous snake between me and the top of the stairs.
So what did you do?
Yeah.
I called my wife, and I had my phone, and I woke her up, and I said, she was like out of it. She was like, hello. I said, hey, I need you to do me a favor. And she's like, I got a headache. It's like the middle of the night now. And I'm like, not that favor, you know. I said, go to the garage and get a shovel.
Put a pin in that one.
That was good.
First.
That was really good. That was really good.
So she brought me a shovel, and when I was telling this to my buddy in L.A., he literally said to me, "Were you able to relocate the snake?" And I'm like, "To relocate the snake that's bitten me on the foot?"
Yeah, you're not relocating.
I did relocate. I relocated all 4 pieces of him to a cardboard box that went in the trash can. So
wait, so
relocate.
I just have to. Does she throw the shovel to you? How? Because she's got to get it over the snake.
She handed it over the rail on the side of the house.
Okay, so she's safe from it, but you still have this dilemma. So then you just have.
Oh, I didn't have a dilemma. Once I got that shovel in my hand, it wasn't a dilemma for long. Take a stab, Dave. How much do you think a vial of anti-venom costs?
Oh,
about that big, about 1.5 inches.
Do you need that much? Is that the
Yeah,
deal?
they give you the whole vial.
If they're smart, they would negotiate. It's like it should be market price, and you pay what you think it's worth in that moment when you need it.
Well, yeah, because you're not really in a position to negotiate, right? You know, so $100,000.
No, that's not true.
It is true.
Are you serious?
My bill for getting bit by a snake was $138,000.
Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh my gosh.
I can't. That is really hard to understand.
And insurance covers $450 of that.
No, they actually cover the anti-venom.
They cover the whole thing.
Which is part of the, which was.
That is crazy.
Well, and my wife was like, when the guy said it's really expensive, and I'm thinking, $1,000, $2,000.
Yeah.
And he said $100,000. My wife goes, if you don't give it to him, will he die?
Well, I know how valuable I am. That immediately lets me know my market value.
She's thinking, how many shoes can I buy with $100,000?
There's a guy at the golf course that's so sweet, and I know he's single. He's a little younger too. We could probably get a few more years.
Sweet.
And you're like, I've got to live because I'm just cranking out material right now.
Like, I've got a snake bit. Literally, that I'm working on the way.
It's gonna be good.
Wow.
Okay, so this is we got a speed round for you, Jeff. We have a bunch of these, so buckle up because we just couldn't sort of narrow it down to our usual.
So what's the purpose of this podcast?
Gosh, what a great question.
And we ask ourselves that every day.
Well, because it's called Dadville, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, is it because you're dads, or because you want to know about what fatherhood is like to people, or
it is. It's
so
mutated over the years.
Dave and I are musicians. We've known each other for 25 years, and we live right across the street from each other.
No way.
Yeah,
and we're
literally.
raising these kids, and we spend all our time talking about our kids and being dads and sitting on each other's front porches. And one day, Dave's like, "We should start a podcast called Dadville."
It was during
But
COVID.
you know what? I think just the fact that you want to be a good dad is 90% of the battle.
Yeah.
And all I can tell you is it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. And there's such sweet time ahead, like when you have literal adult friendships with your kids. Mm-hmm. Because you think of how many flights I've been on and how many days I've been gone. My girls call, text, or come see me every day.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And sometime all three.
That's amazing.
They live close to y'all?
You're about 15, both of them about 15 minutes away.
Oh, that's so great. And y'all have grandkids now too, right?
Yeah. I had all girls. My brother lived next door to me for 20-something years. He had all girls. My sister had all girls.
Holy
That
cow.
first cousin that was like a sister, she had all girls. So we had 11 girls.
Oh, my gosh.
And then we went almost 60 years, and then my daughter had a little boy. So he's the first boy in almost 60 years. And he's the best friend I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh.
And he gets up in his pajamas, and we'll be at the farm. I've got a farm about an hour away, and he's like, He goes, Jex, let's go ride a tractor. I'm like, come on, bud, let's go.
You have struck gold, man. You won the lottery.
Oh, he'll sit in my lap. He can plow at 4. He can keep it straight. I'm like, keep the wheels on the left line.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
that is. I mean, I am.
So it's gonna be okay. The fact that you care about being a good dad, I'm telling you, because I've walked this road before you did. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love the other parts of it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that because Dave and I talk about it all the time. I'm like, if I could know somehow that I'm going to land where you are, Jeff, it would make all the tough teen years that we're going through right now. I'm like, I can bear that totally. I just want to know, is it going to be okay? Are they going to be all right?
John, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. It's going to be great. And the not knowing is part of the fun of it. See, like that's my feeling about faith, is to really embrace faith. You have to embrace the mystery of things. It's like you're not going to figure it out. But if you think about driving, like if you're out west and you're in the desert and the road is straight and flat for 100 miles, that's boring.
Yeah.
But when you can't see around the next curve or over the next hill, that's what makes it exciting. And that's the same with life. And that's kind of how I feel about faith. If you'll just let go and go, I don't have to know where we're going. I just know it's going to be good and I trust you. And then you turn the corner and you're like, oh, wow, cool. Didn't know this was here. That's kind of the way life is.
Yeah.
You're an angel sent from the Lord to tell us that, Jeff. I appreciate that.
And we're exchanging phone numbers before we get off because
done.
With one of y'all,
we're going to
come
write a
up here,
song.
we will write a song.
I'm writing a crappy song.
No. Well, if it's with us, it won't.
If you're
be
looking
great.
for
You'll have
crappy
a great
songs.
time. You've come to the right.
If you're
We
looking
don't
for
even need Dave in the room
songs,
to do that.
We're your guys.
You'll leave thinking, man, I'm better at that than I thought I was, and they're worse than I thought they were. Okay, speed round, Jeff.
Here we go.
One time I had to perform at the White House, and my wife couldn't believe that I told this joke to President Bush, but I said, when you're a comic, you think, what do we have in common? Mr. President, you and I are both conservative Southern men. We've both been married for decades, both have 2 daughters. In the course of your average workday, you're trying to stimulate the economy of the world's largest industrial nation while at the same time prevent nuclear holocausts. In the course of my average workday, I'm sitting in my office going, what rhymes with fart? and so I was at a function in D.C. 2 or 3 years later, and Bush was there, and he waved at me, and he came across the room. He goes, did you ever figure out what rhymed with fart?
That's so good.
My wife's like, I can't believe you did that to the president. I said he loved it. He remembered it 2 years later.
That's great.
I think being married, if you're funny, is just half of your life is your wife going, don't say that. Don't say that in front of people.
Yeah.
I said
she has got the best meter for. All right, so I got to ask you, where do you come up with most of your ideas?
Song ideas?
Yeah.
I would say I come up with them after I've seen a great show. After I've seen somebody else play.
That's interesting.
And I get really inspired. That's when I come up with some stuff.
For me, I have a pad next to my bed with a pen on it, and I've learned to write in the dark because that moment between when I turn the light out and when I go to sleep and I will have a thought, and I used to go, I'll remember that in the morning, and you never do.
No.
Yeah.
And I also have a pad on my bathroom counter because I bet you 70% of the things I think of are in the shower.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wife has had 40 years of me stepping out of the shower going, is this funny? Is this funny? And she's just got such a great gauge for it. She'll go, not really. Or she'll go, you need to work on that. That's funny.
And so she's really that much of a North Star?
100%.
Yeah, like
I'll run something by her and her instinct, she goes, it's good, but you need to balance it by saying something about men on the other side.
Wow.
Like, that's a good thought, but you're going to need to balance it, or it's going to feel like you're one. And I'm like, okay, I trust her implicitly on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good team.
You know what's funny with me? I wonder if you felt this way with your kids, but my kids, as they've gotten older, for my music, have been really good barometers. Like, it's been really fun to play stuff for them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, I never thought about that.
But with music, it's interesting because there's something so, what's the word? Like, there's no judgment. It's pure, I like this or I don't. I'm not thinking about why I don't. And so I learned a couple records ago, and now the kids, it's funny, they've all turned into little A&R execs, which is a little tricky. But we'll get in the car, and they'll say, what'd you write today, Dad? And I'll be like, I play this. And they'll be like, that's pretty good. Where first they'd be like, I kind of like it or I don't. Now they're like, I literally, true story, I had my oldest son probably 6 months ago. I played him a song. He's like, I don't like the chorus. I was like, oh, so you know what a chorus is now? Like, okay. But he was right. And then I changed it, brought it back, and he's like, yeah, that's better. And I was like, God, that's interesting. But I think at the ages they are, which they're still young enough to be this, even though Ben, my oldest, is aging out a little bit, but they really do just go, do I like this or not? They're not going, why do I like it? Or it's just like, that's fun to hear, or it's not fun to hear, which is insanely, it's so valuable.
Yeah.
So it's been funny kind of employing them to kind of be like, hey, can I play y'all something? And that was cool.
Okay, so I remember what I was going to ask you. One of the things that has always kept me fascinated about stand-up is, like, if you laid carpet for 40 years, you would know how to do a flight of stairs. You would know how to do a corner. You would know how to do, because you've done it so many times. After 40 years, I still don't know what they're going to laugh at.
Wow.
So like the way I try new stuff now, everything's on note cards, and I'll go into I don't want to go on a Saturday night because they're too good of a crowd. Let me go on a Tuesday night when there's 30 people in there, and they'll be honest. And I just go up there with those note cards. Hey, is this funny? Is this funny? Well, if you and I were walking into the club, I had a stack of cards, and you said, pick the 4 that are going to work the best, that I would be dead wrong on 2 of them.
Wow.
I would throw it out there and nothing, crickets. And then I would have something that I thought, this is almost too stupid to try, throw it out there, and people are beating the table.
Yeah.
So, but to me, that's what keeps it interesting, is she's like, stand-up is like the woman I can't quite figure out. She still surprises me. Is it the same, like when you're writing a song, do sometimes you think, oh, this is a great song, and then you try it for people and they don't like it? Does that happen? Or do you just know when you've written a great song?
That's a good question.
You know what I think is tricky about that I do not think is particular to comedy like it probably is with music. I think people tend to, after you've kind of established your brand as an artist, people tend to kind of go, hey, this is why I like Dave, this is why I like John. And it's not to say they can't branch out of that, but I think they tend to go, man, we trust this supplier to give us this supply. And
because you made me feel a
certain way before. And so I think what gets tricky is as you get older, John and I are both in our 40s now, and we've been doing this for 20 plus years. I think the hardest job that we have sometimes now is going, man, I have this different kind of music. I think it's just as good, but it's being inspired by different things. I really want you guys to trust me and try it. And I think people, because, you've done it this long, it's going to be good. It's just as if it's what they want. And so I think that's kind of the battle now, is trying to convince your fans, like, hey, I've grown a lot. So, like, I did this project where I just listened to the Beatles for a whole year and put this record out, where that was all it was inspired by. It was like learning their songs and stuff. And I've never had more fun making a record. And I had a lot of fans that loved that, but I'm sure there were just as many. It was like, that's cool, but that's not really what I was kind of hoping for. And so, I think that's the thing that's a little particular to music, is that you do get kind of branded as an artist at some point. Yeah. And I think then you're kind of doing this thing where you're trying to convince people, like, no, I've got more pitches than a split finger. I've got a really good curveball I've worked on. Yeah. But they're kind of like, well, we put you in the game to throw the change up. That's what, And so I think, I don't know if you feel that way, John, but I think that's some of the battle we all have later in our careers in music, is trying to sort of keep people growing with you. Where I think with comedy, the great thing is like John said, if you get up there and you kill on a joke about giraffes, nobody cares it was about giraffes, and you're known as the redneck guy. That's just funny. And I think with music, it can be a little. I mean, if you write a slam dunk song, it's a slam dunk song, but those are so hard to come by. And I think, and then it's kind of navigating that weird thing of going, man, I think this is great. Like, I really think this is great. I hope people will be able to think the same thing,
Yeah.
See, and there's something about, like, for me, like, if you watch me watch a comic, I won't laugh like everybody else. It's like I remember early in my career, I was opening for Seinfeld. And so I finished my set and I got a chair and I sat on the edge of the stage and just watched him. And after about a half hour, a lady came and tapped me on the shoulder and she said, "You don't think he's funny?" I said, "I think he's great. I think he's fabulous." She said, "I've been watching you for a half hour. You haven't laughed." And I said, "No, because I'm sitting here going, oh, that's a great joke."
Yeah.
Oh, man, he worded that so well. That's a great joke.
Like, you're thinking of the actual word choices, and what he could have chose, but he chose that one, and you're like, oh, that's good. Yeah.
So that's
so I listen differently, I think.
Well, I think too, it's. I mean, I think a lot of us, like, I know when I go to shows, my wife will be like, "You look like you hate this," because I'm going, I'm like watching the show, and she's like, "Who else is dancing?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm loving this."
Yeah,
but
I'm the worst.
That's an interesting chord change. Or why did he use that? Or the drums didn't play that time. That's interesting. It's just logging it away.
Yeah, you can't watch it with the same glasses.
No. Mm-hmm. Which isn't that sort of a bummer too as you get older? I think that's one of the afflictions.
Yeah, because you started
industry,
it because you were a fan, right? Even if you had the gift, you were a fan of it.
Yeah.
And it's now, as I've getting even older, I can go back and just the competitive part of it has gone, and I can kind of be a fan again.
Yeah. Oh, I love hearing that. By the way, you just made me think of this, but I sat side stage when I was playing a show in Knoxville. We got done, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to see Sinbad? He's across the street at the Tennessee Theater." And because they were promoting both shows, and I was like, "Oh yes." So we walked side stage. You just made me think you said side stage, and I watched him. He did I probably walked in about halfway through the set. He did about another 20 or 15 to 20 minutes, and then he stopped, and he's like, "All right, it's time for questions." And he fielded probably 30 minutes of questions, and it was some of the funniest. I was like, I don't know how. It was. I left that night, and I was like, I've never seen anything like that. Like, it was as funny as his arranged stuff. I mean, and he was just taking questions. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's got such a gift.
Oh, I mean, all you guys, it's amazing. Great comics. It's just nothing like it. It's like John said, it's just magic. It's pure magic. It's like, because it comes from, like, where is this coming from? Yeah, amen. Okay.
Well, I mean, I do think if we're created in the image of God, so you guys started this because you're dads.
Yeah.
Is there any other moment in life that makes you happier than when you see your kids just genuinely gut laughing?
Oh no!
And so maybe
God looks at their laughter.
Maybe God looks at us that way and goes, "Look at my kids, man. My kids."
Oh man,
yeah.
I love that thought. Okay. Jeff, it's time. You want it.
Here we go.
all want it. The people are pounding the doors outside.
Now I don't even know what we're doing. I'm nervous.
No, it's great. That's how my honeymoon started. So, all right, 4 people, alive or dead, that you would have with dinner, that you want to have dinner with.
Wow. Maybe Denzel. I find Denzel interesting.
Yes.
I love Denzel
because I think he's a deep thinker outside of being a really good actor. You probably couldn't have Jesus in that.
It's your call. This is your dinner. He's there anyway.
He's there anyway. So if I could pick any moment in time, I would like to have been sitting with the shepherds on the side of that hill when they just finished a day of work and it's pitch black dark and all of a sudden the sky explodes and that. Don't you know? Only their laundryman knew how shocked they really were. But
it's true.
God, that's such a hard question because I like to talk about. You would think I would just like to talk funny stuff. I like to talk deep stuff. maybe Abraham Lincoln.
Gosh, he has made so many of these lists.
Well, just to say, what did you see? When you did this? What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
How did that compare to what actually happened?
Talking about the play. Hey,
The play. That was something my dad used to always say when you'd be listing your list of gripes for a terrible day, and he'd go, "Other than that, Mr. Lincoln, how was the play?" You know?
that's amazing.
God, I don't. You know, I only got to talk to him at length once. Maybe Bill Cosby, because he was so good at his craft and so good at it. And what he did on a personal level has wiped out everything he's ever created. It's like you're not allowed to play him. You're not allowed to acknowledge him on a comedy podcast. And I'm like, well, Michael Jackson still gets played, you know.
Yep.
One more. I got to have one more. I liked Earnhardt a lot. Maybe Dale Earnhardt.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting table.
That
would be.
Denzel, Jesus, Cosby, and Earnhardt. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds like the beginning of a joke.
All right. Speed round question number 2. Favorite comic?
God, it's too hard. The guy that helped me the most was Leno.
Really?
He would sit there, like he was the number one club comic in the country, and he would sit there with new kids at a Waffle House at 1 o'clock in the morning and tell you everything he knew.
Wow.
Like he didn't even know me well, and he saw me, and he went back and told Johnny Carson about me.
Jeez,
Really?
That's amazing.
Wow.
Because I was sending tapes to The Tonight Show, and they wouldn't even open them. They were just mailing them back to Smyrna, Georgia. And so he helped me a lot. Dangerfield helped me a lot. Ron White's the most naturally funny person I've ever known. Ron could recap his day, and you would be gut laughing, but he's never written anything down. So there's all his best material nobody's ever heard.
Wow.
But I think a lot of people that like aren't even comics are funny. You know, Newhart was funny. I said to him one time, I said, "You know what you can do? You can get a laugh without saying anything, just by your pause and your facial expression." I said, "That's a weapon I don't have in my belt."
God,
so good. I mean, there's all kind of ways to do it. You know.
Okay, favorite redneck joke that you've ever written?
God, that's your babies. I figured up the other day, I think I've written close to 10,000 of them.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe the one, I was doing a thing on Sirius XM for the NASCAR channel, and they said, make up a NASCAR redneck joke. And I said, well, that's not really how it works. But I sat there for a second and I said, okay, how about this? If your son's name is Dale Jr. and your name's not Dale, you might be a redneck.
That's good. That's good. On the spot. That's impressive.
That's amazing.
Okay. Best worst on stage moment. By that we mean like some of my favorite stories from musicians or comics or people who've been in the theater or whatever, like when something just goes catastrophically wrong or whatever. Those are the best stories. And you got any of those?
Yes. So I'm hosting the ESPYs at Radio City Music Hall.
Oh, geez.
And it's live. And we're coming out of commercial, and I'm standing there with the show producer, and he says, the only thing I'm supposed to say when we come out of commercial is, ladies and gentlemen, Ray Charles. And so he's standing there with me, and he starts to step away. He goes, Jeff, we're back live in 5, 4, 3, 2. Jeff, Ray's in the bathroom, kill time. And the red light comes on. Now I'm on live TV, and he's just said Ray's in the bathroom. And I'm thinking,
Jeff.
Did Ray go by himself? Did Ray take a newspaper? Am I killing 30 seconds or 30
A newspaper
minutes?
wouldn't have done a lot for Ray, but sure.
Yeah, well, Braille newspaper, right? So, and you're on live TV. Well, I had been working on a new bit about the difference in men and women getting all dressed up to go somewhere.
Oh, that
fancy.
works.
And so I said, "Man, you guys are a great looking crowd tonight. You know, I've kind of figured out when you're getting ready to go out for something like this, the men do this and the women do this." And I ended up like 5 minutes. I had to kill like 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And then somebody's holding a sign in front of me and said, "Raise in place," you know. And so I told another joke and it got a big laugh. And I said, "You guys are an awesome crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Charles." And so that was a moment that should have been a disaster on live television. Should have been a disaster of just standing there going, "Y'all, we're not ready," you know.
Oh my gosh.
The next day, my wife and I were walking around New York, and some guy stopped me, and he said, some guy and his wife, and they said, "Great job last night." They said, "You know what my favorite part of the show was when you were doing that thing about men and women getting ready." And after they left, I told my wife, I said, "That's the thrill of this, is that should have been the worst moment. And it was their favorite moment."
Isn't that amazing?
And nobody had any idea that was flying by the seat of your pants.
God, just like that is height. Okay, so which, you know, it is fair if you say the Carson thing can answer this next question, but best moment on stage for you?
On stage, well, the Carson moment was awesome, but about 6 months ago, Ron White was playing the Fox Theater in Atlanta, and he called me, and he's always called me Heffy, and he goes, "Heffy," he goes, "I'm playing the Fox. I want you to come down and introduce me." And I'm like, "Okay, but when is it?" "Yeah, I'm in town. I'll come do it." So my wife and I went down there and got on his bus and hung out with him for a while, and just caught up. It was great to see him, and so it was just totally unannounced. I walked out there to just introduce Ron, and the Fox Theater is my favorite place to play on the planet. It's just the it's, you know, it's 100 years old, and the acoustics in it is a little bit like the Ryman. There's just something magic in there. And I walked out, and all I was going to do was go, you know, "Ladies and gentlemen, Ron White." And when I walked out, the crowd immediately stood up, and they wouldn't quit clapping for like 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And all I wanted to do was just cry. I mean, I was embarrassed. And I finally got them. Yeah, I don't know I don't handle it well. I'm like, okay, sit down.
Yeah.
Sit. But it was just such an outpouring of love, you know. And afterwards, Ron said, "That's why I wanted you to come introduce me."
Oh my God.
He said, "You need to know how much people love you." And
wow.
Yeah, I didn't even say a word, not a joke. They just stood up and they wouldn't quit clapping, and that was very emotional, because you're
amazing.
like, "No, I'm the lucky one.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's gotten to do this and have loved doing this for so long, you know." But
God, that's beautiful.
I guess that was like them saying thank you.
Yeah.
Man.
That's great. And great that you have your friend who teed that up for you. That's great. Okay. If you could do one bit, you could stop the entire world and do one bit for him, what would it be?
Again, it's like picking your kids. I think it would be the bit about my colonoscopy, and only because of this. I've had 5 or 6 shows stopped, and I can tell you the point in the show where it would happen, that all of a sudden people are screaming, "We need a paramedic," because somebody's they've had like a heart attack and fallen out on the floor.
You've had 5 or 6 shows like that.
I did one night with Larry the Cable Guy. I got a guy, they had to stop the show and literally wheel him out on a gurney. And then Larry they had to stop at a point in Larry's show, and they wheeled him out. And as we're watching the ambulances, Larry goes, "I mean, really, it's kind of a great compliment, you know."
The ultimate.
But to have a bit that has made more than one person have a heart attack from laughing.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
There's no better. That is unbelievable. You could say you guys killed that night. So, okay, final question. Hey, why I order? All right, so usually what we ask for the final question is, if you wrote a book about being a dad, what would it be called? But John had a much better question. If you wrote a bit about being a dad, what would be the punchline be?
And that makes me the luckiest man alive.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Just Jeff Foxworthy.
Jeff Foxworthy.
Okay, anything you want to plug before you go? Anything you got going on people need to see, come to, or read, or?
I'm working on a new special, but I don't want it to be like anybody's. I want them to follow me for the first half hour to the clubs and see me bombing and trying new stuff, and then to come back 2 weeks later and see me working on that bit again.
Oh,
and see
I
me
love that.
And then I want to have the last half of the show me at the Ryman to show that, to go from an idea on a note card to a polished, because I love. Like, I'm sure you guys watched the Beatles documentary that was like 13 hours long, and them, I mean, just for weeks and weeks playing with Get Back, and well, what about if we did this, or what about these lyrics and all, and then at the end they go up on that rooftop and they're playing it, and as I'm watching it, I'm crying. I mean, I'm just sitting there with tears rolling down my face, going, it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
To see behind the curtain, to see what got thrown out, what got kept in, what got rejected. And so nobody's ever seen that with comedy. And I think being the old guy, my ego is such, I don't mind showing myself try something that's not going to work. Or barely works. And then back in your office going, I know this is funny. I'm just not doing it right. How do I fix this? So,
that is the thing. I think of anything that terrifies me, and I have the most, maybe the respectful for comics, is that when people, and every comic we've ever had on this podcast talks about this, like, oh, I'll go and do some open mics, get stuff tight. And I'm like, I can't do that. There is something about, like, even with songs, like playing somebody a half, it feels like, no, I'd just rather it be fully good or fully bad. Not sort of like, what do you think? And then I'm like, I'll do that with, John and my really good friends. I'm like, do you think this is going the right? Annie all the time. I'm like, is this going? But it's amazing to me that you guys do that. It's amazing that you would get up and know there is a high percentage of failure for what I'm about to do. But that's all right. I'll figure it out. And that it doesn't, that is crazy to me.
But the good outweighs the bad.
Yeah.
Because when you do that one and it clicks, you're laying in bed that night going, oh, this is going to be good. This is,
It's enough.
You don't even think about the ones they didn't laugh at.
Yeah. They all disappeared.
Oh, my gosh.
Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
I know I went, because I have a podcast. This went way too long.
No. There's no such thing.
Great.
I keep going, so we'll have to do it again someday.
We'd love that.
We would love it.
Dadville.